This gentlelady from Nevada for her 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, offer my deepest sympathy to the witnesses for their loss. Professor, you're the only expert in here on this topic. Would you say one more time for the record if the Constitution covers what Mr. Crane called dereliction of his oath, or any of the things that are being addressed here in terms of grounds for impeachment?
I don't believe the record supports grounds for impeachment here, no.
And are you in the mainstream of other constitutional scholars who have taken this position, written letters to the Post, written letters to our chairman, been public about this impeachment?
I signed a letter that was, in addition to another dozen or more bipartisan set of constitutional law scholars who took the same position.
And I want to emphasize that was a bipartisan list of scholars who are very versed in this topic and who know it better than any of us sitting up here. So it was interesting to me that when I heard Ms. Greene and her tirade against you saying, we're not talking about the Constitution. She actually had the gall to say, we're not talking about the Constitution. And she's the one who entered the resolution that we are considering. So if we're not talking about the Constitution, what are we talking about? Well, we're wasting our breath talking about history, talking about precedent, talking about previous cases, talking about the language of the Constitution, talking about the original intent of the Constitution, because obviously the people on that side of the room are not talking about the Constitution. So they are throwing out 200 years of precedent. They're ignoring the interpretation of all these constitutional scholars. They're disregarding some of the comments that have been made by members of their own party about the folly of this resolution and this pursuit. So if we're not talking about the Constitution, then what are we talking about? It's a political stunt. It's an attempt to distract from a do-nothing Congress that's done nothing, and even less compared to the do-nothing Congress so named by Truman. And, I see another quote that I think is relevant. It was by the Assistant Secretary of Labor, Mr. Post, who they brought up to impeach in 1920. And by the way, it's only been done one time over 100 years ago, but they tried it in 1920. And his response was, it was mental dullness at high tension. I believe we've seen a lot of evidence today of mental dullness at high tension, with raised voices, with misinformation, with accusations, with demeaning comments. That was mental dullness at high tension. So if we're not talking about the Constitution, we're just trying to use some constitutional terms to pretend like stump the professor. We know more than they do. I would say that my colleagues across the aisle are simply just trying to put lipstick on a pig. And I yield back.
The gentlelady yields. I now recognize